I hosted 316 says I just whipped your ass.
And what's it gonna do?
It doesn't matter how you're doing. Woo! Wheeling, dealing, living right, jet flying.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Would you please shut the hell up?
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the human rubble.
What up, what up? Welcome to episode 82 of Keep The Kayfabe. I'm Mike, sitting here with my boys, ready to talk some wrestling. And we got some great matches to break down. We saw some spectacular wrestling on AEW Dynamite and Rampage. We'll let you know what matches we're going to cover soon. But also we got Battle of the Belts coming up this Saturday to look forward to, and we're just going to see what happens tonight. So before we get into the fun stuff, let's talk to our great co-host, introduce you to the boys over in Glendale, somebody who keeps it regal, my guy, Steve Grobschmidt. What up, Grabby?
Yo, listen. Yo, keep the kayfabe with lyrics that ought to win a Slammy, which is more than I can say for Conti and Sammy. They're fucking and they're bragging like a pair of horny toads, but fans think it sucks as bad as shitty Brandy Rhodes.
Oh!
We used to love Tay's ass, but we're sick of their shtick. But it's gonna be as short as Matt Michelson's. Yo.
Oh my
Whoa. Max Caster better watch out.
Streaming services!
dude, man.
Keep the kayfabe has arrived!
The Groovy has arrived!
Holy shit. Was that awesome. That's a new all-time, that's it, man.
Original.
You crushed that.
I'm not sure how much I liked it, but I gotta give him credit.
Yeah. Well done, sir. That was so good. Oh man,
He cut promos on everybody.
Yeah, do you have a cameo yet, Steve? Because you could probably do that for
fans only. What was that, sir? Yeah,
Only fans.
Yeah, it shows how I know. Yeah, I sit in risque outfits and do some lyrics.
Hey, dude, don't rule that out. You might have. I mean, everybody's got their flavor. Everybody's got their thing that they're into.
Yep. If you ever leave the
it's
podcast,
kind of like how much money are you comfortable and willing to make?
I'd like to retire young, so yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, good stuff right there. Thank you, Steve. Good to see you. And over in Bayview, my guy, he's got a big one. He keeps it freshly squeezed. His name is Matt Michelson. What up, Matt?
Boom, 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 bow, ba-da-ba-dow. Wheeler Yuta.
All right.
I wonder if he's gonna get a new theme.
I don't know. I mean, he can happily have that one, no charge. That one's on me.
Yep, the remix.
Yeah, he's one guy that we're going to cover tonight. If y'all didn't catch it on AEW Rampage this past Friday, holy shit. And we're going to break that one down in just a little bit. But right after we introduce my guy, oh my God, Charlie Michael. What's up, Charlie?
What's going on? Adrenaline in my soul. Every fight out of control. I do it all to get them off their feet. Promising about to blow. Waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, the lights go up, I'm home. Whoa! And my father said when I was younger, sometimes read better, man.
You couldn't just let Steve have his moment.
Well, we all know Charlie's was 100% scripted.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, totally scripted.
Just like Cody.
Was it?
Yeah,
Felt like
totally
authentic to me.
Adrenaline from the Genius website. He's a mark. I heard him on Busted Open It. He's a mark for himself. God, I want him to fall on his face so bad.
Before we get to the matches, I am interested. What was his interview like on Busted Open? Because I don't really listen to that show.
It was typical Cody. It wasn't nothing special. Just talked about making a change and how he's not gonna make promises and eat, because he's had to eat his words and some of the stuff that he said he wasn't gonna do, like I'd never go back and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Was this your typical? I was surprised that WWE let him do it. He must like he said, he must have really cut a good deal for his contract because no WWE guys ever really appear on there.
It's true.
And if you do, you get lower level guys.
Well, and he went over at WrestleMania. I mean, what do you think the odds of that happening were had he not negotiated for it?
Yeah, he cut a good deal, really good deal. Because like I said, but we'll see where it goes. I still sit on my laurels that he's not going to be getting that title anytime soon for what they're kind of planning with the Usos to combine the tag team titles. So, but I just can't see him taking that belt off fucking
Roman.
Ray. Yeah, dude. I caught part of that promo. And he cut at the end. That fucking crowd, their crowd loves him, dude. So why would you change course?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
they're all acknowledging him.
Unless something crazy happens, like Roman's hurt. They didn't have the title on him for 2 years to lose to frickin' Stardust. I mean, it's not. Yeah, there's no way.
They could dance around his injury for a while because he doesn't wrestle on TV really, so they could let his injury heal and wait till their next pay-per-view. But that's how it used to be in the old days anyway. You used to get title matches on TV, so
yeah,
just come out and cut a promo.
Yep, and it's not like they invest into anything good in their pay-per-views. I mean, to begin with, WrestleMania was their big one. Their next big one is what? SummerSlam? And that's
the big one.
How many months?
Mm-hmm.
So
August.
Maybe he'll come back then. They're just going to, fill some time, come up, throw some spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks.
Oh, yeah, because
spin the fucking wheel.
Those fans will take it and show up the next Monday watching. It's going to be interesting this week. I want to see what their rating falls to this week, though. Because they did over 2 million, so I want to see if they bop back down to the 1.6, 1.7, or if they stay pretty high.
Well, I think we should get this because it's ripped from the headlines, but there's reports that Brandy's wrestling career may not be over and that she's in talks with some people from WWE.
Yeah, she had some productive talks. What's that mean? She's had some productive talks.
Maybe they're not that NXT level up show they have like they did this last Saturday. It's like
she was backstage and people didn't try to walk away from her. They just probably stood in her presence for maybe 5 minutes.
Humored her. Yeah.
Win.
Oh yeah, sure. We'll call you, Brandy. Yeah, we'll call you.
NXT Level Up. That's a clever name. It's almost like what's another word for that? Oh, elevation. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Nice. Well, speaking of elevation, somebody that elevated their game to wrestle one hell of a match was Wheeler Yuta this past Friday night on AEW Rampage. He was slated to wrestle Jon Moxley, someone who's been on fire lately. He looks in great shape. We don't get to see a lot of Wheeler Yuta do his thing alone. He's part of the Best Friends. He gets kind of thrown in as a tag team, and but he had a singles match against Jon Moxley. You knew it was going to be good because everybody in AEW, puts their best foot forward. But I did not see this. I mean, this is probably the best singles match of the year almost, for at least maybe the best match on Rampage. That's maybe safe to say. But this one really surprised me. The match started off real strong. Wheeler Yuta comes out to the ring quickly. Jon Moxley comes through the crowd, and instead of waiting for Jon Moxley to get into the ring, Wheeler Yuta just goes right after him, launches himself out of the ring to, is it a tope suicida, if you want to call it, or just a torpedo? I don't know. Through the ropes, takes out Jon Moxley right away, and the match just goes from there. They got bloody, a lot of blood, actually. Wheeler Yuta got his face smashed on the steps. I don't know. I mean, he got busted open, but he bled a lot. And that was the first time that I've seen him bleed, so that was in a new realm. But he definitely elevated his game. And in my opinion, this was one of the better matches that I've seen Jon Moxley wrestle. I think it really got him going. Jon Moxley propped up Yuta pretty well in this one. So, the new pure Ring of Honor champion, really showing why he is the champ. Who wants to start us off on this match? What's your feedback, Matt?
Yeah, this match was, I mean, we had texted about this a little bit, I think, on Saturday. Just insane. I didn't have the chance to watch it the night of. I think I watched it Saturday morning. And yeah, Mike, you nailed it as far as the spots in the match. This is one of those matches that I feel like, you know, back in the day, we occasionally like to talk about when NXT used to be good. And I feel like every NXT takeover would have a match where there'd just be an insane number of finisher kickouts. And that was back when that was not done. They were sort of, especially for those who watch WWE only, that was such a foreign concept at the time. But I feel like it's been overdone a lot since then. But I think with this match between Wheeler Yuta and Jon Moxley, we did see Wheeler Yuta kick out of the paradigm shift a couple times. The second time, I thought it was over, and it wasn't. And there was a lot of moments where I thought it was over, and it wasn't. And I think the crowd did too.
Well, one thing too before you go ahead, Matt. AEW said like right in the beginning that they're going to be one of those companies that do protect the finishers and don't overuse them like some other wrestling companies often do.
Yeah.
So this was pretty surprising.
Yeah, that's a great point. The other thing I think they did a really good job of in this match is Jon Moxley pulled that shocked face when Wheeler Yuta kicked out. And that's not something we ever see Jon Moxley do. I feel like Adam Cole does it, you know, after like a small package roll up at this point. Like it's just, he overdoes it way too much in my opinion. But Moxley definitely does not. And I think in general, AEW does a pretty good job of not coaching their wrestlers to do that. So it really carried a lot of weight when we saw Jon Moxley make that face. For those of our listeners who out there who haven't seen this match, you got to go find it. I believe pieces of it are on YouTube. You can watch it on TV, I think TNT. So if you have a service like Sling, YouTube TV, I'm sure you can go find it as well.
Yeah, it's on demand.
Yeah, there's a guy, friend of the channel, his name's Andy. He's just dipping his toes back into pro wrestling after not watching since the Attitude Era. And he's been getting back into WWE, and I actually was talking to him over the weekend and suggested he watch AEW. And Andy, if you're listening to this episode, first of all, thanks for listening. Secondly, this is the match you want to seek out. Wheeler Yuta, Jon Moxley, AEW Rampage this past Friday. Just an all-time classic.
The whole Rampage is, well, I guess the middle was a little soft, but the Bryan Danielson Trent match was excellent as well.
Yeah. Love Trent. I love him as a singles. Charlie, did you have anything on this one with Yuta and Jon Moxley? Did you catch it?
Yeah, I caught most of it. I gotta watch it again. The whole show actually again. So I was watching it with a lot of background noise at Yuli's, but yeah, Matt pretty much covered it all. There's nothing more I can really add.
Where did Yuta really come from? Because I didn't really know much about him. Do you know where he came from?
He did a lot. I know he's from Philly. He was doing a lot of East Coast independence, and that's where those guys found him. Yep.
Gotcha. So you'd never seen him live?
I think he did a stay at Ring of Honor for a little bit. I think he had a couple, you know, one shots, but yeah, but he's from the East Coast Indies. Those guys, you know, those guys all know him. Like I was telling before the show, like I was watching the PWG from last year. So those guys, like, it was what's the come on brain? What's the Dynamite announcer? Excalibur. Like it was Excalibur and Chuck E.T. doing the ringside and play-by-play. Those guys were fucking hilarious. Chuck is fucking hilarious.
Oh, he's a play-by-play. Yeah.
Dude, his play-by-play was great. It was funny, like just stuff like this. They were, you know, the fans were chatting. It was a great match. Fight forever. Chuck's like, man, I got a 6:00 fight, man. They can't fight forever. You know, just he had a lot of big, you know, one-liners like that. Just really good. Like, and it's just a different announcing. Like, one guy got kicked in the nads, and he's like, oh, he just got kicked in the dick. You know, it's just good. It's just good stuff, dude.
I think for me too, Wheeler Yuta, like I think I've said it before on the show, when he started and he was with the Best Friends, honest to God, I just did not get it. I thought he was like one of the most boring wrestlers ever.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
In the ring, rock solid, but just zero personality. And geez, kudos to everybody involved that all of a sudden now he's the talk and like in this really compelling way. And like, you know, the way they've like done this patiently over a month. It's like, man, that was just a great match, great story, and it's it's just like the best of wrestling because he's like a young guy and now he's gonna be getting the rub off these vet legends, and it's a win-win-win. Yeah, it's just super impressive.
I give props to like Tony Khan for saying, just seeing that, this guy could be a star and let's push him, because like you said, I thought he was a nice side guy, pretty good in the ring, nothing special, but but the last 3 weeks they really made him feel special, and he's really hardcore.
Wasn't it Yuta? Like they did that one week where they had there was a match that ended early, so they threw in. I feel like it was Mox Yuta, and it was like that was the start of this, but it was like a throwaway match, and people were like, it was okay match, but kind of pointless. Like it absolutely wasn't pointless. Look where it led to.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Like I like the best friend stable. Yuta was probably my least favorite person in that stable, but I'm glad he got the shot. And like I said, every once in a while there's this magic, timing, like he's having a great week. He just got crowned the new pure champ with Ring of Honor. You get a shot to wrestle a legend like Jon Moxley. You get the opportunity, and the guy just nailed it. He didn't slow down. He didn't take the opportunity that he had for granted. It looked like he put everything on the line to be the best wrestler he could be that night. And I think it brought out something great out of Jon Moxley. And to be quite frank, Jon Moxley, after rehab, he looks like just unbelievable. It might just be a little, with what they got going with Danielson and Regal. But I think Moxley, he looks healthy. He looks like a good, in really good shape. So I'm happy for him, and this was a great moment for AEW, especially for Rampage, because I like Rampage, but there's only sometimes like I'm already behind. I'll just wait for Dynamite. Now I really want to try to get back into watching that hour. I do DVR it so I can just fast forward the commercials. I just gotta use it as my as a point to make, especially if they keep putting out matches like that. It's
really a good wrestling show. I mean,
definitely.
They had some great matches week to week.
It is. Mike, one thing you mentioned that I just want to touch on too is I was not a huge fan of Wheeler Yuta either when he first joined the Best Friends. I think it was around the time when Trent was injured and was off TV for a while, and Best Friends just didn't feel the same without him, I think. That was right after the parking lot fight with the Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz. Just instantly elevated those guys, and then they had to take 2 steps back. But I think this is the perfect place for Wheeler Yuta. Who would have known he was capable of something like this? Really incredible how they found the perfect timing, like you said. I actually feel like we're right on the cusp of Best Friends 2.0, I guess I'll call it. We're seeing Trent slowly turn heelish more and more, where I think the Best Friends in general just aren't really heels by nature. But then you have other people coming up like Danhausen, as who's kind of loosely affiliated with that group. Orange Cassidy's starting to get better, and he's probably going to be back in action soon. So I think we're going to see a somewhat of a new lineup with that group, where they probably lean a little more into comedy than I think they have historically. So kind of curious to see where that all goes.
Yeah, and Statlander's kind of left now too.
Right. And what about that one dude? Is it Punky Vice? What's the guy?
Punky Vice.
Oh, Rapungi Vice. You're talking about
that's the tag team.
Yeah, who's the
Rocky? That's the name
Rocky
of the
Romero.
tag team. Rocky
Yeah,
Romero,
I don't know. He must not be full time because he hasn't been around in a long time.
No, he just sets in once in a while. He runs a New Japan dojo out of Los Angeles. Yeah, so he comes in once in a while, but he's out of Los Angeles. He might be over in Japan now, but he kind of runs a Japan dojo.
Well, no.
Yeah, I was just curious. I didn't see a lot from them lately, so glad I asked.
Speaking of Danhausen, now he's like obsessed with Hook, which is such a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like I have no idea where they're going with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have those guys touching because one of them's gonna have to lose, and it's like, man, you don't want to have Danhausen lose. You don't want to see Hook lose. And Danhausen's more of a comedy act too, so he's a good wrestler. Don't get me wrong, but
but then Hook's doing like the too cool for school thing. Two do not go together.
Yeah, not right now. They're trying to build those guys up.
I was thinking the same thing. I could see that being a surprisingly good match. And Charlie, to your point, Danhausen's a great comedy guy. I think he could stand to lose the match if he showed that he can really wrestle well, which we know he can. But I think a lot of folks who maybe didn't follow him before his time in AEW may not know that. So when those two get in the ring at some point, I think it's going to be surprising and really make people look at Danhausen in a new way. But at the same time, Hook's going to go over and continue to be awesome. It's just a really fun dynamic with those two.
Yeah, it's probably in good hands. They must have some kind of plan going because it really is an odd pairing. And like you said, Charlie, you don't want either of those guys to lose right now, especially when Danhausen hasn't really made his mark quite yet, but people know his reputation. So we'll just have to keep tuning in and see where that story develops. But something that developed very nicely on AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday was the main event. It was between FTR and the Young Bucks. They headlining Wednesday night, and it was for the Ring of Honor tag team titles and the AAA titles. But okay, this is a dream scenario. I can't remember if FTR or when they were the Revival, if they've ever been as over as they are right now. They're clicking like crazy right now. It looks like Dax Hardwood is pretty banged up too, but guy doesn't slow down. This FTR team is just a machine. You know what the Young Bucks are can do and are gonna do. So I was really excited to see this match, but this was an all-time classic. I think they at least got 25 minutes to maybe a half an hour. And I rewatched the match right before we got on tonight because Wednesday I tend to forget a little bit of the details. And we've been thinking there's going to be a Bret Hart appearance coming up soon, and I noticed a lot of Bret Hart's like little tributes throughout the whole match. There was, FTR, they're wearing like those star boots like the Hitman used to wear, but then even the Young Bucks were doing elbow drops from the second turnbuckle the way that Bret Hart did too, plus the sharpshooters. There had been some bulldogs and some other ones in there too, if I was paying close enough attention. But do you think Bret Hart's coming? It could be coming up here at the Battle of the Belts, don't you think? It's got to be soon.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I could not tell you when Bret Hart's going to show up. I think he is. I think it's a given at this point. As far as the match goes with FTR and the Young Bucks, I don't have a whole lot that I'll throw out there. I'll let these guys talk about it. But the only thing I noticed was I was really relieved in a way that it was much better than the first match those two teams had. I think their first match was in, I want to say 2020. I know it was during the pandemic. There was no crowd.
Like this was 18 months since they've touched.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And that match, everybody really was looking forward to it. Something just didn't click with it, and I don't know if it was the absence of a crowd or just, they didn't seem
the crowd, dude.
Yeah,
the crowd made a huge difference, dude.
Totally. Yeah. And they didn't seem to be on the same page in terms of the pace of the match that time around either. But I think ever since this face turn, and I think we're calling it a face turn now that FTR's gone through, they've really turned it on as far as their in-ring work. They definitely still do, I'll say, heelish things. They're like very smart faces with an edge who can anticipate if the other team's going to try and cheat, and they'll just cheat in a much smarter way. It's really cool, and I think that's what's really making people start to take notice of FTR. They definitely deserve both the titles, but yeah, this match blew the first one completely out of the water. Great match, right on par with their match at Ring of Honor Supercard last week.
And Matt, you were kind of not a FTR supporter. Are they raising their stock a little bit in their eyes?
I was not an FTR supporter.
Dang, really?
I think as the Revival in NXT, they were great. But I, over time, came to think that maybe that was because of the teams they went up against. Like you think about American Alpha and DIY from the NXT days. They had great matches with those guys. But, DIY, they were a great tag team. American Alpha was a great tag team too. And we've seen FTR go up against the Young Bucks before, and like I said, it just didn't click. But I don't know what they've done differently, but whatever it is, they're working like great matches now. And I think it's just instead of just sticking to the old school Southern style, which don't get me wrong, they've definitely turned up the pace quite a bit. They're relying a little bit more on theatrics and storytelling in the ring, which I think kind of makes the matches more interesting too. So yeah, I'm finally starting to come around to FTR. I'm really excited for everything they have going on, and now we just got to wait and see when Bret Hart shows up.
I have a feeling. I don't know if he'll be a full timer, but yeah, you kind of pretty much know he's going to show up during. He'll probably present the Owen Hart winners, whatever they get.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. I'm assuming that's if he comes, that's when he's coming.
That's
for
a
that.
good call. That's a good point. And I enjoy the coat throwing at the beginning of this match too. I was texting the guys during the match, and I don't remember if anybody did that before them or if that was a thing. But I just think that's hilarious.
I think it's just for heat, just to get the crowd worked up.
Oh yeah. Mike, what did you think of what'd you think of the headband or the bandana down the pants?
Oh yeah, that was some lucky fan. Hopefully got that.
Oh God, with some funk on it.
Yeah, Steve, you could be wearing that while you're doing your cameos for fans. So
throw a little extra cash in that. Yeah,
people
get an extra $5 a cameo.
People are paying stupid money for very stupid things. Don't rule it out. But yeah, I know these are your boys. You're a big FTR guy, aren't you, Steve?
Yeah, no, that was like the heyday of NXT when it was pretty much my favorite thing going. And I mean, those guys were awesome. I mean, obviously, you guys know I'm a WCW, NWA mark, so the throwback to that has always been good. And then, when guys like hell, even Coronet were giving them kind of the blessing, they were kind of living up to that reputation. But
he even gave the Bucks credit for this match.
Wow, shocking. Yeah. Well, they did kind of wrestle it was like just a good wrestling match.
They wrestled their style, and not more of a Young Buck style.
Yeah.
He even said he's going to call them by their names, the Young Bucks, instead of all the other nicknames he has for them. But he loved it. When you get him to love something,
especially with somebody with a group that he doesn't
the Young
like.
Bucks, yeah, and he hates the Young Bucks with a passion, which is crazy. But
that something got a little lost there for a while in AEW, where they were always good, but they just seemed kind of rudderless.
Everybody can't be number one, so everything flows like when the Bucks are on top. Everybody gets their turn.
Well, and you think about it too. AEW, they signed so many huge names. So our excitement was in so many different places when they got Danielson. They had CM Punk coming in. Even just before even those big names, they were adding. So it was growing. And then they got paired with the Pinnacle. So it kind of they were kind of saddled a little bit. So they couldn't really do their thing. And Tully, he's a legend. It made sense, but I'm happy they broke away from him. And how they broke away from Tully was just pretty random. They basically just said, "You're done," and that's it. And it was like, okay, well, that's that. That's not really built up. And honestly, since that happened,
that's kind of good, though. I don't think that was a huge fit for him anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the weird thing with AEW. It just seems like every single person, no matter how experienced you are or unexperienced you are, you're getting paired with some legend. Like, we're seeing it even now with Regal and Danielson and Moxley. I mean, that's really cool. But, for a while there, everybody had, head of the household, basically, in all these stables. So, yeah. But wouldn't you guys agree they're probably the most over tag team out of all, the best tag teams in the world right now are all in AEW, it seems like, and they are just white hot. The fans are really receiving them well.
Fan reaction was off the charts last Wednesday.
They're the hottest tag team in wrestling right now. Unless it's the Oos. Ain't that right, Oos?
Yeah, that's right, Oos. I'm glad you brought that up, Oos.
Since
day one-ish.
Yep. Oos. Never mind my drinking problem, Oos.
Yeah, those guys have been kind of keeping their nose clean. Usually they average like a DUI every like 8 to 9 months. So good for them. Hopefully they're cleaning it up.
Because, yeah, Lord knows after the Tammy Sitch situation, they need to really look at stuff like that. What can't happen.
Totally. All right. Well, let's stay on the tag team topic. We did see another tag team match between a legendary tag team and a tag team that doesn't get a lot of shine, and this was their time to show it. And that is the Butcher and the Blade versus the Hardy Boys in a tables match. Was it 2 out of 3 tables wins the match or something like that?
Was that announced up front, or did they just fuck up?
No, there was. Yeah, so I've listened to a couple things on this because this match confused the hell out of me. I think in the beginning, Justin Roberts did announce the rules, which was basically you have to put your opponent through a table with an offensive maneuver. That was the rule he stated. I did appreciate that solely for the fact because it added kind of a different element to the match, because you saw a lot of moments where guys are trying not to get thrown through tables, or like where the Blade would run at someone, they'd move out of the way and he would just careen through the table. That's cool, you get a table spot, but it doesn't count right towards the actual win. So it kind of gives them a way to come up with creative spots and go through tables without, actually ending the match. But there was a couple spots in this match where, like, I think, Mike, the one you might be referring to is, I think the Blade went through a table at one point, but the table didn't actually break. It collapsed, but I don't think it actually snapped or anything. So there was a little bit of confusion around that because whoever was refereeing that match didn't really say one way or the other, like, no, that doesn't count, or like, say, oh, that's one, or I'm not really sure. They also didn't announce if it was both members have to be eliminated or just one member of a team. The whole thing was a shit show. And I don't know, on top of that, I personally thought it was kind of clumsy and a little bit boring too. So, you have this confusing set of rules on top of a match that really wasn't all that great to begin with. It just completely fell apart, no pun intended, like the table in it. But you got to see Jeff Hardy jump off a ladder, which I'll take that any week.
Sure. Yeah, like I was saying, the Butcher and the Blade, they don't get a lot of shine. And now this is their opportunity, and it's just like, I don't know. Can this team ever get over? Or like if like their contract ran out and they got released, would anybody really miss them? I wouldn't.
I think they're one of those, like, you
gotta have guys.
You gotta have quality opponents that are, can amass some losses, and I think they fit that bill. I think they never really put in a bad match, but they're never a serious contender. And I don't know. I think they're like,
there's always
notch above.
teams.
They're a notch above enhancement talent, but that's sort of their role. It's like we need somebody to get a win. So if they put a match with them, it'll be a good match. Although this was an exception. Yeah, I don't know. This match was weird to me, and I feel like they had to ad lib the rules because things didn't go as planned. It made me feel for the first time like the Hardys just looked old when normally they're fun. So it's like. Right. It also is a little bit of it's like almost like they feel like they got borrowed time with the Hardys, so they're like trying to cram in all these hardcore matches, and I just don't know if that's a good idea. 3 weeks in a row of hardcore matches with these dudes is like maybe slow it down a little bit.
Matt Hardy looks like he's when Forrest Gump was a kid and he had those leg braces on. Like that's the way he reminds me of how he's walking. Like he looks like his legs are like made of wood or in like those. Yeah,
those guys got to be.
He's always kind of walked like that, like kind of bow-legged.
Yeah, some of our listeners out there might be thinking, "Wow, how could you say that?" But honestly, that's one of the best comparisons I think I've heard when describing Matt Hardy.
Forrest Gump.
Yes.
And I'm all for. I think it's exciting to have them doing kind of this. What I assume is sort of like their farewell tour, but it's like I think Tony's got to slow it down a little because now they're starting to look like that match did not look. It was not a good match.
No.
Well, not to mention they're going to put their asses on the line here in Milwaukee at a Circle K in Cedarburg, Wisconsin. I mean, they could fucking die that night. I mean, just don't even hit the road. Get your paychecks and get paid, and then if you're still want to pad the bank account or still get for the love of the wrestling, do some of these shows. But yeah, they're going on the road and doing more. So. Yeah, hope they hold up okay.
Yeah, I
All
hope
those
so.
weekend shots are not going to be doing no tables, dude. You're going to
They
get
better
a
not.
classic Hardy's match, a swanton, and
I
a
don't-
delete, and that's about it. And take it home. You see the prices they're getting for ringside? Every ringside seat's like $200.
Wow.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah, you get some kind of meet and greet or something with them, but the prices are crazy.
Wow.
Wow. Damn.
I don't know if you
everything's
guys-
getting expensive.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Swanton has been looking different. And I was talking to a friend of mine, friend of the show, Gary, and we found an article. I guess he has modified his Swanton so that it's
Oh yeah, I
an
heard
easier
about
hit.
that.
So it's less pressure on his neck and stuff. So
Yeah.
back. So
Yeah,
it is intentionally different. And once I read that, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And that's a perfectly good reason why he'd change it.
So now he intentionally crushes people.
pretty much. That's what it. Yeah, it's pretty much. That's what he said.
It's all on the young guy.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to take it. Yeah.
Honestly, it probably is. He's better off going through a table because it's kind of like some kind of a surface with some give rather than just going on hitting a guy that's on a thin foam pad with hardwood underneath with little give. I don't know. I feel like he's a little safer going through some tables if they're done right. So, but anyway, yeah, the Hardy Boys butchering the Blade match, not so great. Overall, a great AEW Rampage, though. They keep setting us up with some great matches week to week, but they're building towards Battle of the Belts coming up this Saturday. The only thing that's slated right now is Nyla Rose versus Thunder Rosa and Vicky Guerrero. God damn it. I wish she would leave.
Yes.
But whatever. Not really too excited for that. I don't know. I can't ever really get excited to watch Nyla Rose. You ever just have just wrestlers that there's just nothing that they really did wrong personally, but you just really don't want to see them wrestle? She's one of those for me.
And I think
For sure.
she's kind of played out a little bit. I think I don't want to say one dimensional, but it's like, okay, the native
Yeah.
beast mode, like they've kind of reset her character every 6 months. And
Mhm.
after a
Yeah.
while, it's just not credible anymore. It's like, when she started, it was like, oh damn, her against what was her name? Who was the first champ?
Riho.
Riho.
Riho. It was like,
Riho.
damn, David versus Goliath. That's pretty exciting. But then after
Mhm.
that, over and over, and she just kind of racks up the losses. I think it's kind of like, she's
because
kind of fills that butcher and blade role at this point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, she's been in the company. She's an original, roster member too. So we've had our fill.
She's not
literally.
young either. I think she's like late 30s.
Is she?
Oh yeah.
So she's probably kind of, I'm not gonna say wrapping it up, but just probably have reached the plateau that she's gonna reach there.
Well, and also, I don't ever think she's ever gonna give us one of those 5-star matches or anything over maybe
No.
a 3. So it's just like
She's had a
what are you
few
really
solid
gonna do?
ones, but yeah, that's probably the best you're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's a feeder to Thunder Rosa to get her first feud out of the way and victory, and hopefully move on to something better like Serena Deeb.
Honestly, the only thing that would be interesting with Nyla Rose if she tried to get in between Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti. That would be the only thing. Like to
I'd
just
like
be
Anything.
I like to see her beat the shit out of both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Totally. Oh, so should we just mention that also on AEW Rampage? I mean, we've been saying this for a long time. We got a bad taste in our mouth with this current relationship status of Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara. It's disgusting. It's like a very immature high school couple that everybody hates, and the Boston crowd let them know on Friday night when they came out, and
Did they mask?
they got
Didn't it seem like they muffled some of those?
Yes.
That's what Scorpio
Yeah, I heard
Sky was
that.
claiming.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think they muffled some because it didn't seem that bad at all.
Exactly. I thought it was going to be way worse. I was actually going to text the group and just be like, I don't know if it was as bad as the internet made it seem, but it sounded like it was doctored. But I don't
Definitely
know
was.
if maybe we can find a raw fan footage of that when Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara came out again to Dan Lambert spouting off. Dan Lambert, he's like he just kills people.
It's so interesting how anyone who gets put on TV with Dan Lambert, just their career dies instantly. It's like he's 2 for 2 now between Brandy and then Sammy and Ty Conti. And part of me wonders if they've given Dan Lambert...
I'm not blaming Lambert for that one, dude. I'm blaming
Neither.
Ty and... Yeah, I'd blame
for
those
sure.
two for...
It's a weird coincidence.
Yeah, I think it's a weird
Yeah.
coincidence.
Right.
Because they've put up these 2 acts that aren't working.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm wondering is, AEW is pretty aware in general. Tony Khan especially, I think, when it comes to his booking. I mean, 95+% of the time, guy nails it, right? I'm almost starting to wonder if certain acts or certain talent are starting to get a little too, big for their britches backstage. Does he intentionally put them with Dan Lambert as a way to kind of check him?
That's
I don't want to call
Yeah.
it punishment booking, but it's about the closest thing to it in AEW, right? Because
It's almost like it's almost like, okay, we're gonna put you in with the loathsome Dan Lambert. If he gets more
Gotta get
cheers,
over. Yeah,
if he's getting more
exactly.
cheers than you, it's not working, and that's the
Well,
litmus test. And it was like Brandy, like he was like going full on with like I'm a right winger, blah blah blah, and he still got cheered more than her.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great passive-aggressive way. If Tony Khan doesn't like you, he'll just have you go up against Lambert, and you'll be made an example from Dan Lambert rather than Tony Khan himself.
Well, and the other weird thing about Dan Lambert is he's like this despicable like heel, but the things he says are often like, he was going on about Cody being full of himself and Brandy and all that, and he wasn't wrong. And then like he was talking about, like this guy is like a monster heel, but he was saying things like, that belt was like, that's like the legacy of Brody King, and you guys are having sex on it. That's like a total baby face statement. So it's like even he is not like 100% saying heel things like an MJF. He's like saying things that are actually kind of right.
Exactly.
Well, and then they play tricks on him like they would to Jerry the King Lawler, and he like does like those faces, so he plays along with the heel role. It's kind of a weird duality that the guy's got going on. He says some pretty
Very weird.
A lot I don't like agree with or like get on with, but lots of the things he says aren't wrong either, like you said, Steve. So yeah, Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara, they need to Charlie, you think they just need to get off TV?
I do, but I heard something them guys were saying he needs Tony maybe just tell him, hey, you're just gonna have to be a heel, be heels, and then see where that goes, because they're not gonna be faces. Just say, hey, be heels, and then go from there. But I think they got go away heat. They need to go away.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to brag about the relationship on Instagram or the internet, Twitter, and let people cool off, because it
ain't working.
Once you get on that bad side where they're at, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And they feed into it, maybe maybe if they keep feeding into it, like I said, they'll do the heel turn for them. But they're dancing with. They're heading towards Cody area, dude, real bad.
Well, and I think what's interesting, I think Charlie brought this up before, but it's like, okay, Sammy's just dumb and young and like thinks his shit don't stink. But Taya is like taking it personally and like imbalanced, kind of like unbalanced about it. She's like unhinged. Like that's not healthy either. Like if she's reacting that way and she's completely in the wrong, like she's gonna have like a meltdown or something.
Yep.
They can't help themselves. They have to be heels, because if this is how they want to go about the relationship and be as open as they are with, what they do, how they feel about each other and this and that on their stories, go ahead. There's people online that comment that love it, and that's what they're paying attention to. But the majority thinks it's very despicable, because they're doing it in a company with diehard wrestling fans that don't want to see a soap opera or a young love like this. And Steve brought it up perfectly before. There's another couple that are their age and very close to Ty Conti is Anna Jay and Jungle Boy. They're an item. They just posted something once and they acknowledged it, and they're like, that's it. They're not fucking in your face. They're not every fucking date that they go to. Like, we're at Dave and Buster's and we are the cutest couple riding fucking crotch rocket video games, and now we're gonna go play air hockey and wear our hats backwards and stick out our tongues and say we're crazy. Like, fuck off.
We're
Nobody
in love.
gives a
This
fuck.
is a love that's gonna last forever.
Bullshit.
Oh god. Yeah, save it. I mean, yeah, great. Like, you got a TikTok, and that's the generation that is like that's on with it, I guess. And but fuck, guys. I mean, I'm not fucking joking when they must bang like motherfuckers, because I mean they're both in like unbelievable shape. They're very great looking people. They're getting paid. They're going on trips. They are having the time of their lives. So that's why, who's gonna genuinely want to like them? Because
Yeah, they're jealous.
down,
Yeah.
I'm envious.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Remember, I used to be in love. Now I'm saying these words out of my mouth that I never thought I would say about Ty Conti. But I'm sitting here and I'm saying it. So yeah, when you open that door to your personal life, that's just not what wrestling should be. And they're playing that game, and all this backlash that they're getting right now, they're bringing it on themselves.
Absolutely.
So I don't know why they're fucking surprised.
You gotta wonder if Cody gave Sammy the tip, like, "Hey, if you want to get real heat, this is what you do."
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're getting to the back end of the show now, and that means it's time for promo of the week. And we got one here from Kathy Humble from Columbus, Georgia. She says, "Don't tell my boss I listen to your podcast while I work. I love Keep the Kayfabe. So good, guys. Thumbs up." Awesome. Well, Kathy, I'm not going to bust you out because I don't know where you work, but I'm glad you're tuning in to us at work. Hopefully it makes your day a lot better and the time fly by. So, yeah, and anybody who's listening out there, if you want to submit your promo of the week, you want it played on the air, write us a note at keepthekayfabe@gmail414, or excuse me, keepthekayfabe414@gmail.com, or hit us up directly at Keep the Kayfabe on Facebook and Instagram. So what Kathy sent us tonight is Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant interview from 1988. This is a classic. Virgil's in the mix. He doesn't say much, but he's holding more money than he's probably held in a long, long time visually on the video here. So without further ado, let's send it over to Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant with Mean Gene Okerlund.
Well, I don't mind telling you, ladies and gentlemen, some mighty interesting developments over the past week, including the World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Championship being held up by President Jack Tunney. I want to bring in $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. Virgil, join me if you will.
It's a bunch of funk is what it is. It's a bunch of bureaucracy. This man fulfilled his obligation to me. I fought and paid for. I paid this man a king's ransom, and he delivered. The belt was mine. Tony, who do you think you are? He's under the pressure of all the little peons out there. All the little peons saying, oh, there was too much confusion. There was 2 referees. The simple fact is he won, and he handed the belt down to me, and it belongs to me. So one more time, Andre's robbed, and in turn, I'm robbed. So you want to have a tournament? Well, I'll tell you what. I didn't have to buy the title. I did it to prove that it could be done, and I proved it. So now there's a tournament. Okay, tournament. The first round that I have you, Hacksaw Duggan, a stumbling, bumbling fool that doesn't have the class to be in the ring with the $1 Million Man. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll show you, Tunney, all you penny pinching peons out there in the whole wrestling world, what the $1 Million Man's made of.
All right, Andre the Giant, the tactics of the $1 Million Man thus far proven not to fly.
I'll tell you one thing, just like Sarah, Jack Tunney. Jack Tunney, you better stand Canada. Not coming USA. We don't need you. You're a troublemaker. That's the 3rd time I win the title already. I have to go back again, and I'm going again. And Hogan, you know you lost it already 2 times. And it'll be the 3rd time again. Because Hogan, after what I did to you, I know I can defeat you, and you know that too. Hogan, I know you're scared now. And Hogan, I will get you again. And I will that WrestleMania 4 ain't going to be mine. I'm not going to make the delivery again.
You have got to be kidding me. Andre the Giant is getting a bye, justifiably so, as will Hulk Hogan. They will meet, however, in the 2nd round, ladies and gentlemen, of the most electrifying and exciting spectacular ever to be presented by the World Wrestling Federation, Sunday afternoon, March the 20th.
Well, there it is. That was a great promo. Thank you so much, Kathy, for sending that one in. I remember that one like it was yesterday. I actually, if you guys remember that arcade game of like the wrestlers. I think it's called like WWF Superstars or something like that. It's like the classic one, and like part of the, when you need to insert a coin, they have like this interview on that video game. So I wasn't really a privileged kid. I didn't really get a lot of quarters to play video games when we wwent to Fuddruckers. So I would just watch like the previews all the time. So I remember it well. But yeah, what'd you guys think of this promo? You remember it?
I do. I remember that pairing too. I mean, obviously one of the the greatest stories I think WWE ever told was when Andre beat Hogan, but they had the twin referees, and I mean that was all DiBiase's plan, and yeah, that was a fun time there when those two were teamed up, and then he handed DiBiase the title, but it didn't count, so that's when the tournament happened and all that. But yeah, that was a golden era of Ted DiBiase right there.
It's funny, when I saw the thumbnail of this promo of the week on YouTube, I kind of did a double take. Like, I swear I've seen this before, but I could not tell you where, when, how, why. And Mike, when you described the old WWF Superstars arcade game, I knew right away, oh yeah, that's where this is from. Couldn't tell you at all what the promo was about, but I can tell you from the cover of it what you see is what you get. So, but the promo itself, yeah, like Ted DiBiase, the guy just, incinerates anyone he looks at. And then Andre, I feel like, was so interesting. You could put him with anybody, and the guy just like stood out on his own in every way.
Hell yeah, brother.
Andre.
So before we get going here, I just thought we like to talk about some other little topics here, particularly TV. I wanted to tell you guys about something I've been watching. It's on Apple TV Plus. It's about that WeWork.
Great show! I've been watching it too. I'm behind a few episodes. Me and Colleen, we haven't hooked up to been able to watch it. I watched the first 2 or 3. Yeah, I'd love it. Yeah, dude, I'd love it.
So I've been all over that. Hulu did a documentary about it.
Yeah, I watched that, dude. It's really interesting, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
it's
watched that too.
This guy called his name's Adam Newman or Andy. Is it Adam? I think it's Adam.
Newman, yep. Yeah.
Either way. But he's kind of like a little scammer, kind of like a little fraudster. Not really. I mean, he's got big dreams, but then he dates a chick who's played by Anne Hathaway in The Thing, and they're both kind of bonkers, but it's pretty fucking really great.
If you watch it, did you go back and watch some of the videos of her? I think she's nuttier than him, dude.
Oh,
she's a nut job, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a kicker, too. She's Gwyneth Paltrow's cousin.
Yep, and they bring that up in this show. So yeah, it's all about this company that tried to start up about shared workspace, and they thought it was gonna, change the world. And let's just say he was just spending more money than he was receiving, to put it lightly. So definitely check out. It's called We Crashed on Apple TV Plus.
What episode are they on now? Like 4 or 5, I want to say.
I think there's 5. I didn't catch the last one. I think the 6th one just came out on Friday. The new ones come out on Friday.
Yeah, Becky and I just got rid of Hulu and Disney, or Disney Plus rather. But yeah, so we're looking for a new streaming service to sign up for. We did have Apple TV a while back. We really liked it. So
there's a lot of good shit on there.
There is. They put out top-notch content. I mean, it's Apple. I feel like everything they touch, they just give it 110%.
Yeah, it's pretty quality,
so, yeah. So I definitely want to circle back and maybe check out that show down the road.
It's worth it. At least watch, I would say watch. I think you could, I don't know. Yeah, it's probably, you shoot it off my box because the documentaries get really good too. Gives you a little background on it.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, Jared Leto plays the main character, and he's kind of one of those method actors.
Yeah, he does them really good.
Nice.
Speaking of shows, I don't know I can't remember if you mentioned it. Have you watched Severance yet, Mike?
No, this is why I want to bring it up, because once the baby's here, we're going to probably watch hella TV, so we're seeing what you guys were watching. Is that, that's with Adam Scott, right? On Apple TV Plus as well? Or
I don't know the actor. I can't remember the actors, the lead actor.
Yeah, he's in Party Down. He was in
he probably
Step
is,
Brothers. Yeah, Severance. I started that
Yeah.
late at night. I think I fell asleep, and I was like, okay, I know this show is good. It's gonna be good. I got to keep my eyes open. So that's on my list.
Yeah, go.
Are
Yeah, I jump on that. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Are you through it pretty far?
I'm only 2 episodes in. I'll watch another one tonight, but it's just trying to figure out what's going. It's really interesting, sci-fi kind of. What the fuck's
Okay, cool.
going on? Kind of. You can't figure out the deal.
Mindbenders?
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Oh, I love those.
Like, what's going on? What's this business do? And why are they? How are people letting them implant things in their brain? It's really good. I guess it gets even
Awesome.
crazier and crazier as you go. So I'm trying to get to it, but it's really good. It's one of those shows like, fuck, you're gonna watch that. I want to watch another episode, but it was like 1:00 last night. I was like, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
started it late.
Definitely got to pick your times when the time's right, where you can have your full attention on it.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, that's on the list. Matt, are you watching anything?
So right now we are kind of in the middle of watching a bunch of shows. We've really been into Yellowstone. We actually just started.
Oh, I want to
dude.
put that on my list too. Shit.
Yeah, it
is on my list.
Everybody raves
Yeah.
about it. What I'll tell you guys is it's very emotionally heavy, which a lot of shows are. I think that people enjoy, but I think up through season 3, I was kind of wondering, okay, where are they going with this show? Because it's like just a bunch of things happening. And I want to say at the end of season 3, the ending was so insane, mind blowing, over the top that we
Wow.
dove right into season 4, and we've been hooked ever since.
Wow,
So
awesome.
even if after season 1 you're like, yeah, this show's not bad, it's worth it.
Stick with it.
You got to really stick with it. I mean, you got to burn through. Well, and not even burn through. Don't get me wrong; it's a good show, but I think for me at least, I had to get through the first 2 or 3 seasons, and then I was finally hooked. So,
Wow. How many episodes in a season?
I want to say there's about 10 per season, maybe
Okay.
9. but
Hour long?
They're I want to say 40,
Okay.
50 minutes depending on the episode.
Okay.
So yeah, but it's a
Yeah.
really good show, and they're coming out with spin-offs. They actually
What's
have one called
1840?
12?
Yeah, something like that. Have you watched that one? 1848 or
It's like
something
the
like that?
prequel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really. I've heard good things. I haven't seen it yet. I
Same
think
here.
it's
I
only,
heard that's really good too. I heard that starts off with a bang.
yeah. That
So what's the
one's-
whole plot?
Yeah. So the
with
plot,
Yellowstone?
yeah. So for our listeners out there who are still listening to us review shows, so Yellowstone is about a family who
A
lives
park.
in Montana.
It's Park.
Yeah. It could be.
Go ahead.
It is in real life, yes, and in
Yogi
the
Bear.
show.
Yogi Bear.
Yeah,
They're good
there's
Madaskins.
so there's a family who lives in Montana and owns a ton of land. Like we're talking hundreds of thousands of acres.
Yeah.
And land developers are constantly coming in trying to buy out the land from them or find legal/illegal ways of annexing the land from them to build casinos, housing developments, airports, all kinds of stuff. So it's basically the struggle of this guy who owns it as a ranch and raises cattle and is all about letting it be as it naturally is, versus these giant corporations who try and take it over. They're both very intelligent, incredibly manipulative people. So it's an interesting show. Every season a new person comes in to try and take over. But by the end of season 3, it really kicks up to
Shit
a whole
gets
nother
wild.
level. Yeah. So good show, totally worth the watch.
Man,
Nice.
yeah, I'm trying to watch more shows, man. I was supposed to be catching up, but then behind on wrestling, and then the NBA playoffs start, and the first round's usually always fun. And so, shit.
Yep.
So it's like, man, gotta make time.
Yeah, especially when you want to watch that better league, the NHL, with that
Oh,
first
boy.
round.
Oh yeah,
That's
hockey
really
playoffs
fun.
are. When's that kick off? When's those kick off too?
Early May.
Okay, so yeah, I can't
Yeah.
really watch what the Blackhawks are playing, and they're not
I-
too good.
Oh, they're not. They're out of it. But
Yeah,
no, it's
they're
gonna be
horrible.
fun. For me personally, though, I'm so excited that the baby's coming when it is, because now when those West Coast games go into like quadruple overtime, I'm gonna be up. There's gonna be something on. I'm gonna just be on the couch chilling with the baby, little baby boy. It'll be great. So yeah, maybe next podcast there'll be a third member of the Bate family here in the household. So we'll see.
Oh yeah.
It's exciting. Steve, are you watching any TV or are you good?
No, I don't have anything to add. We're floating, but no, I mean we're not really like.
I know.
I mean nothing noteworthy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to catch up on Moon Knight. We haven't watched that yet.
I get it. That's on my list too. I'm kind of waiting for those. I might knock that one on quick. I think it's only a 5-episoder.
Yep. I'm doing the Charlie Michael method with that one as well.
Yep. Yeah, I like to catch. I
No.
hate to wait. Yeah, I finished Boba Fett the other day. That was good.
Oh, so good.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, honestly, dudes, I'm not a big Star Wars guy, but I've been kind of watching the Clone Wars, and now I'm learning
That's
so
fun.
much more.
I want to go back and watch. Oh, that's on my list too, dude. I want to go back and watch all of those.
I've been watching that at night, maybe like just a 20-minute or 40-minute episode, like for a lunch, or have it in my candle workshop, and I'm learning so much more. And I'm not like a Star Wars geek. I mean, I know a bit more than other people, but I do enjoy the stories and the inner like connection and stuff like that. Plus, they're coming out with this Obi-Wan Kenobi thing on Disney Plus that looks really cool, and a lot of it goes to the Clone Wars. So I'm coming a little geeky on Star Wars lately, so that's been cool. And then they got like Bad Batch and Rebels. You could keep watching TV. So
what's the one that came out on Disney? Steve, you might know. It's kind of anime-ish. They're kind of just one-off stories, cartoons.
Oh yeah, I actually watched a couple of those, and they were really good.
Yeah, my buddy said
the name
they're
of it.
really good.
Yeah,
I'll get the name. I can shoot it over to you, Mike. But I heard those are really good too.
Yeah, there was one that was like super samurai kind of and stuff.
Yeah,
really badass.
Yeah. Look at Matt. He's like, all right, yeah, sure. Sounds great, guys.
I know the show you're talking about. It's a shame that we canceled Disney Plus when we did, because the moment I did it, I was like, oh shoot, here's like 5 things I wish I could watch now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
hey, man.
We'll pick it back up.
Monster
at some
Box,
point.
bro.
Yeah, or you can bundle it. I think it's a great deal. I do $20 a month for the Disney Plus, Hulu commercial free, and ESPN Plus. It's $20.
Ooh, nice.
Whatever. Yeah, keeps me motivated to sell more candles so I can watch the TV that I love. Because you know I love TV.
Hey, man,
I don't know if you watch live TV, but in DVR, I heard YouTube TV is really good, but it's like $60-some a month, so you're basically kind of getting a cable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not gonna get a super low rate thing.
Right. Cool. Well, yeah, we don't just cover wrestling here on Keep the Kayfabe. We like to, share a little bit else on what we're doing. So, if you love our show wrap-ups, too, let us know what you want us to watch or what we should be watching. We'd love to hear from you. So hit us up on Facebook, Instagram at Keep the Kayfabe, or keepthekayfabe414@gmail.com. And this week, especially, stay hungry, fuck my ass, stay humble, stay hungry, and stay hard.
Triple H!
Woo!